Welcome back to United Technologies presents Transforming Cities, Transforming India. This week we're looking at how able we are as a country when it comes to emergency medical services and air disaster management.
Medanta's air ambulance services reach out to the remotest parts of the country and even beyond. Flying Doctors India till date has responded to more than 1,100 calls and helped save more than 80% of the attended patients.
We are operating on the model of Royal Flying Doctors, which is in Australia. Like a thought process based like that, which connects like whole of the Australia to the tertiary centers. So what they have done, they have got the primary and secondary centers at like every 200 miles. And they created a tertiary care center after 250 or 300 miles, like that. And the aircraft connects these, bridges that gap. So they are investing on the manpower only in few cities, and the aircrafts are connecting these things. So they have got their own handling units in the airports, and like here also we have got the permission of operating our aircraft handling system in like many of the North Indian airport.
Super specialized centers like ours, where you have the best treatment for heart and for trauma and for cancer and for people who are critical care. That outside of metro areas or institutions like this, when people get sick, very sick, like life-threatening sickness, the families would like to bring them for better treatment, but how do they get here? The idea was that what we did in the ambulance on the ground, we should do in the ambulance on the air. That means create an intensive care unit at 30,000 feet.
In air ambulance, all the air equipment what we are using, they should be RTCA certified, because the radio frequency should not interfere in the radio frequency of the aircraft. So all the equipment should be RTCA certified. That is why they are costlier. We should have a very good battery backup, what we have. And normally like ventilator, defibrillator, neonatal systems, suction machines, with all good battery backups, all the batteries should also be the airworthy, right? So normally if something costs 100 rupees, these airworthy equipment costs at least 3 times.
High ATF prices, taxes and lack of subsidies on aircraft maintenance keep the cost of such services high. Besides, as this service is not covered under medical insurance, it keeps away the common man from availing of such life-saving facilities.
There is no such classification in India like air ambulance. Here one is saying that it is a scheduled flight and it is a non-scheduled flight, or one is saying it is a cargo flight and it is a passenger flight, but there is no classification that it is a ambulance. So when you talk about the ambulance, there should be no service tax. That is direct burden to the community. And operating an air ambulance, if it is dedicated aircraft, operating an air ambulance, we are paying to all the airport handlers, which are the private players, for the handling of the aircraft. But there should be specific protocol, there should be specific procedures, and which should be clear to each and every person. Like landing in a rural area, one should have to go to the district magistrate and the SDM and then the police commissioner and all SSP, rural SSP, SPRA, rural area SP, and then they will get the permission. It takes around 3 to 4 hours. But at the same time, if this process has been written and explained to a SHO level in a police station or to a SDM level, one should not wait for the DM to open the office and then activate all these things.
We have to stop looking at individuals. We have to look at country as a country and say government, private, NGO, they are all India. They are not the owners of pieces of India. This is India first. We are then operators of whatever we do, and if we earn from it, okay, it's a credit. But ultimately it's for the people of India.
In India, till now, no insurance company is offering any kind of insurance coverage for the air ambulance. Although few of the corporates which have that buffer insurance amount, they are offering reimbursement of the amount to their employees through the insurance company, but these are only for the specific to the corporates and the public sector units. Till the time we will not create the tertiary healthcare to the district level, we have to be dependent on these air ambulances to connect the rural area to the metros.
If you look at it today, there is enough healthcare on the ground where we can actually if we aligned the government system and the private system and the NGO system, we could provide 50% more healthcare to the people without spending any more money in infrastructure. But because there is no connection between us, there is a lot of wasted capacity. The standards are not uniformly good all over the place. Many things can be done, of course. So first, you have to say it is on the national agenda that we care for our people.
Many times, in many occasions where there is an acute fulminant liver failure patient which requires urgent liver transplant, family can afford, there is a donor, there is an indication, but they cannot come because there are only very few liver transplant centers, and we are one of them. So we have flown, we have shifted the patient, and the same night we have done the transplant, and patient survived. And these are the happy moments.
It's time for another break here on Transforming Cities, Transforming India. On the other side, CNBC TV 18 Sumit Lakhotia is going to be in conversation with retired Air Vice Marshal Arvind Walia of the Sikorsky Aircraft Corporation. Stay tuned.
Why is it that the civil helicopter industry in India has not grown? The answers are very straightforward. Number one, helicopter is a technologically advanced platform which can take off from small places, rooftop, land at rooftop, etc. But in India, the regulatory areas, we are trying to govern helicopter movement as it is applicable to fixed wing. Besides that, if you also levy tariffs, fiscal tariffs on helicopters, as you would do on a fixed wing, it's quite heavy. So basically, an operator wanting to invest in buying helicopters is weighed. He never makes profit because there is no incentive for him.
Welcome back to United Technologies presents Transforming Cities, Transforming India. CNBC TV 18 Sumit Lakhotia is in conversation with retired Air Vice Marshal Arvind Walia of Sikorsky Aircraft Corporation. He talks to us about why there's a need to change our perspective about helicopters. Here's that conversation.
Mr. Walia, welcome to the show. Thank you for talking to us. So when we talk about helicopters and smaller aircrafts in this country, we don't hear a lot about them. Now the government has come up with this plan of setting up regional airports across the country. Do you think that will give a necessary fillip to these, to getting more helicopters, more smaller aircrafts into the civilian space so that they can help develop these less connected parts of the country currently?
India is a huge country with 1.25 billion people. We have just about 280 helicopters. We need to understand the importance of this machine that I call a versatile machine. That's the only machine which has a vertical lift from anywhere and it can just take off.
Yes.
We need to perhaps take a hard look as to why are we not able to exploit this machine to our advantage. We have various reasons that compel us to look for this product as a solution. What we need to do perhaps here is to open our minds to the use of this machine as an asset. We have to create the environment where the helicopter can be made use of, be it in terms of airspace management. They must be allowed to fly unhindered. They do not form an obstacle in the operations of the fixed-wing aircrafts. We did have some corridors created in Mumbai for helicopter operations from Juhu into the offshore oil exploration. But we need to have those kind of corridors created to grow this industry so that the helicopters are used to its fullest.
So when we watch the news, when we watch television and unfortunate incidents like the recent earthquake in Nepal, we can see that the majority of these helicopters are army, so the army is pitching in full force. But why are we not seeing more civilian parties being a part of that? Is there no incentive for private players to be a part of this?
No, there is a lot of incentive for people to acquire the machine and use it. Okay. What we need perhaps is some government regulations, policy formulations, incentives to grow this industry, be it in terms of taxation, be it in terms of training the pilots for helicopters, be in terms of training the ground crew, be in terms of handling the machine. There's a whole lot of people who are required to be trained because it's a very, very specialized job. So once you have these kinds of facilities available, The demand is always there. In our own country, we have a disaster management authority. We have had incidents as well as instances where we have seen, whether it was Uttarakhand or it was Latur, where you need these helicopters to reach
Yes.
where others can't. This is the fastest mode of reaching and providing the much needed support to the people who need to get support.
Mr. Walia, before I let you go, I want to talk to you about the hot topic of the S-92 helicopters that Sikorsky is making, and you're providing the cabins from India, being manufactured in India for the US presidential fleet, the Marine One fleet.
Okay, I won't go into the US presidential fleet alone, but let me tell you, this was a very conscious decision to have this S-92, which is a very, very beautiful aircraft, very reliable, dependable, the safety record is very high. We decided to get the cabins built in India, and this started in 2009. Okay, and after we signed with the Tatas, today, I think the month of March, the 100th cabin was delivered, and this is our sole source for global demand of our helicopters. This is an excess demand, okay, not only for the offshore industry or search and rescue, also for the VVIP transportation. The chairmen of various big corporates, they operate and fly these machines. Very comfortable, 6 feet height inside, and about 19 passengers as a normal airline version it can carry. Good range, beautiful machine, and I'm proud that the cabins are being built in India.
Well, thank you, Mr. Walia, for talking to us. It was a pleasure, and here's hoping that the next time we come to interview you, we'll be flying in a helicopter.
My pleasure, and thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From the entire team, many thanks for watching.